Kelp by Mrs. Wilson, second graders. The kelp habitat. What is kelp? Kelp is an important plant that grows in the ocean. It is a type of algae. It is greenish-brown in color. It grows in cold water. Did you know that kelp grows 150 feet to 200 feet tall? Parts of kelp. The parts of kelp are blades, holdfast, and the stipe. Kelp leaves are shaped like swords. The leaves are called blades. The leaves float because a bubble of gas holds the leaves up to the sun. Kelp gets energy from the sun. Strong waves bring nutrients to kelp to keep it alive. The root system is called the holdfast, and it works like an anchor to keep the plants on the ocean floor. Kelp blades are rubbly and have bulbs to help it grow toward the sun. The stipe is hollow so it can transport the food from the blades to the holdfast at the bottom. The blades stretch toward the sun and spread out on the water surface to collect as much sunlight as they can. Kelp forest. When a lot of kelp grows together, it is called a kelp forest. More plants and animals live in kelp forests than any other parts of the ocean. Young kelp plants compete with other kelp plants to survive. There is a kelp forest near North America. Kelp has to reach the sunlight to grow. Animals that live in kelp. Many animals live in kelp. Sea otters are often found in kelp. Sea otters are often found in places with kelp, and so are crabs, eels, sea sponges, and lots of fish. The leading seahorse lives in kelp, as well as dolphins, turtles, and sharks. Kelp is important to some endangered sea animals. Fish in the kelp forest. Did you know that thousands of kinds of fish live and need kelp? Some fish have their families in the kelp. Kelp helps the fish have shelter. The fish eat kelp. Fish use kelp for hunting grounds. Some fish will hide from predators in kelp. Kelp is important to fish.
Sea otters. Sea otters live on top of the kelp. The mother has two pouches. She uses them to carry food up to her pup. Did you know pups use their whiskers to find food? Otters pound clams with a rock until they let go. The mother uses her chest as a table for the little pup to eat on. When the mom goes out to get food, she places her pup on some kelp so it won't sink down. Sea otters and kelp. Kelp is important to sea otters. Sea otters give birth in a bed of kelp. Sea otters also wrap themselves in kelp so they don't float away. Kelp is a hiding place and a play area for sea otters.
Sea otters in the food chain. Sea otters are a keystone animal. Sea otters live in kelp forests. Sea otters dive down and get sea urchins. The sea otter's favorite food is sea urchins. The sea urchins eat kelp. Sea stars also eat sea urchins, but not as much as sea otters. If sea otters were missing, the kelp would be gone because the sea urchins would eat all the kelp. Scientists and kelp. Kelp forests are disappearing. Scientists are seeing changes in kelp. The kelp forests aren't surviving because they need to have cold winter waters. The oceans are getting warmer. Scientists are trying to see if those changes are normal or human.